Hello, this is the second part of Reaching International Markets lecture. This is Mahmoudjan Rahimov. This is where we stopped last time. We are talking about competitive forces and that each country has a unique competitive aspect shaped by environmental forces that interact there. Nations establish the infrastructure and rules for the types of competition that can take place. For example, some countries are much stricter against monopolies than others. The global consumer is changing international competition, increased ability to compare products and prices around the globe. As I said before, if as Alibaba and Amazon and eBay and many other websites become fully functional in Uzbekistan, we're going to feel more of this here as well. Uh, different publications and different institutions, they make rankings. And here's one ranking of the most competitive countries in the world, and which is in this case uh, led by Switzerland and Singapore and Finland, small and very flexible countries. Technological forces, technological advances have made international marketing easier, faster, and more affordable. Technological infrastructure varies by country. Many developing nations are beginning to capitalize on opportunities to leapfrog existing technology. Especially internet has been a driving force of growth in many emerging economies. You probably have heard of many economic unions and trade alliances and markets and agreements. NAFTA, right? These are abbreviations and full names of these different alliances and trade agreements. And as I said before, Uzbekistan is now considering joining Eurasian Economic Union, which is led by Russia. Many people, many scholars and politicians in Uzbekistan are opposing this move because this may, economically at least, may bring back Soviet Union according to them. However, Uzbekistan is actively working on joining World Trade Organization, which promotes free trade among member nations by eliminating trade barriers, educating individuals, companies, and governments about trade rules around the world. Before that organization, there was a general agreement on tariffs and trade, and which was replaced by a full organization. And Uzbekistan is working on joining this organization in the next several years, we hope. When it comes to international trade, many companies, many especially large companies, engage in dumping, selling products at unfairly low prices. Particularly our company, GM Uzbekistan, previously known as uh, Uzbewu and now Uz Auto Motors, has been blamed in for dumping, price dumping in Russia, selling cars even at cost or below cost in order to capture market share. There are different modes of entry into international markets. This is quite evolutional. So, first stage is no regular export activities. Second, export via independent representatives, agents. Third one is establishing one or more sales subsidiaries internationally, and last one, setting up full production and manufacturing facilities abroad. You're probably aware about definitions of importing and exporting. Importing being purchasing of products from a foreign source, and export being the opposite, the sale of products to foreign markets. Exporting intermediaries can perform most marketing functions for minimal effort and cost. So there are intermediaries at the export markets as well, such as export agents, which unite buyers and sellers and collect commissions for arranging sales. Export houses and export merchants purchase product from different companies and then uh, sell them abroad. Trading company is a company that links buyers and sellers in different countries. Is not involved in manufacturing, doesn't own assets related to manufacturing. It's like a wholesaler in international business. One the reason many companies rely these kind of companies because they help reduce risk to the company wanting to trade internationally. Licensing is a very popular way of entering foreign markets, an alternative to direct investment that requires a licensee to pay commission on sales or supplies used in manufacturing. So, for example, Coca-Cola uses or Pepsi, they use licensing. All these, they do not own factories worldwide. They license local or regional businesses to produce the product with using the formula and brand of the company. Franchising is also becoming very popular in emerging economies. It's a form of licensing in which a franchisor, in exchange for financial commitment, grants a franchisee the right to market its products or services in accordance with franchisor standards. KFC now is a great example, but we have a lot of smaller uh, franchisees in Uzbekistan as well. McDonald's has more than 35,000 restaurants worldwide, but they do not own most of them. They coordinate them. They help them in marketing and with standardization. First McDonald's in uh, former Soviet Union opened in Moscow before its collapse in 1990. Some of the benefits of international franchising are it doesn't have to, the company doesn't have to put up a large capital investment. A revenue stream is fairly consistent because franchisees pay a fixed fee and royalties. Company retains control of its name and increases global penetration. Franchise agreements ensure a standard of conduct and protect the franchise name, the brand. Contract manufacturing is very common worldwide. It's the practice of hiring a foreign firm to produce a designated volume of the domestic firm's product or component of it to specification. For example, my colleagues have worked with a brand called EPA, which sells construction and home improvement equipment, and it is designed in Uzbekistan but made in China uh, for for our specifications, particularly electric tools. In regions our electricity is less than it should be 220 volts, but it's usually less than 200, and standard equipment do not work when power fluctuations occur. But EPA was able to design special tools which work in low voltage situations as well. So they use this. They've been using it a lot. But most European, Japanese, and American companies, they are engaged in contract manufacturing.
They keep design and marketing and management in their home countries, but outsource the rest of the operations to developing countries like India, China, Malaysia, and many others. Outsourcing is also very common within countries and internationally as well. It's the practice of contracting non-core operations with an organization that specializes in that operation. For example, accounting can be outsourced, production can be outsourced, some service functions can be also outsourced. Offshoring, on the other hand, is the practice of moving a business process that was done domestically at the local factory to a foreign country, regardless of whether the production accomplished in the foreign country is performed by the local or third party. Majority of American car companies are and component manufacturers they do offshoring in Mexico and Canada, just not far very far from United States because of tax benefits of these countries provide. Now, joint venture is a partnership between domestic firm and foreign firm or government. So, for example, our Uz Auto Motors is basically a joint venture between um, General Motors now. Before it was between Daewoo and Uzbek government, represented by Uz Avto Sanoat. So it's popular in industries which require large investment and long-term commitment. It may be politically necessary because of laws and regulations. Lately, strategic alliances are taking off. It's a partnership. So there is no ownership here. There is a partnership which is formed to create a competitive advantage on a worldwide basis. So, for example, Sony and Samsung have been working as a strategic alliance to develop new TV sets and new electronic gadgets. So, by leveraging each other's capabilities. And direct ownership is when a company owns subsidiaries or other facilities overseas. Then we have multinational enterprises or multinational corporations. These are companies which have operations or subsidiaries in many countries. Therefore, we use multinational.